Hey, it is that time again for Break the Box podcast. It is your girl, Kalina. Listen, I have missed you. I took last week off. I was working on some recordings, but we had Thanksgiving and all the holiday stuff. And right around that time, I was like, you know what? I think we're just going to pause for a quick minute and we will come back next week. I hope you had an awesome Thanksgiving. I hope your holiday was great. I hope that you felt the peace of Jesus. I'm going to give you a quick disclaimer. I'm recording in my home studio today by myself, and there's no other adults. So my dogs are roaming around. So if you hear some barking or some little footsteps, it's just Arlo and Frankie. They are just a part of it. Matter of fact, I think Arlo's trying to get on my lap in a second, so he might make a little debut. But listen, it is the month of December. We are officially in December. It's actually kind of mind blowing. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, man, how did the year just go so fast? I turned around and it was like, boom, we're already in December. But I love Christmas time. I love the holidays. I love celebrating Jesus. I love just everything that it represents. And I even just enjoy like the coffee and the sweaters and the Christmas stuff. So I promise it's not going to be corny, but I am going to do a little bit of a Christmas edition for the next 4 weeks, just to kind of give you a glimpse of how we can end the year well, right? I believe that God is always doing so much in every season. And so even at Christmas time, it doesn't mean that we stop and we just, don't do anything, but we also have to have wisdom and have really healthy boundaries. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about the gift of limits, about learning how to say no, about learning how to set boundaries sometimes, because one of the things that we have around the holidays so much is there's a lot of gift giving and gift exchange. But one of the things I've realized is one of the best gifts that God has ever given us is the gift of being able to set our own limits and to set boundaries. And I know that maybe doesn't sound like the gift that you've ever received, but I'm going to try to give it to you in the next couple of minutes. And this is why. Holidays are crazy. I mean, let's be honest, we are doing more. There's probably more Christmas events and plays and Christmas parties and work parties and school parties and all the things and church and get togethers. I mean, Christmas is crazy. And so what happens is sometimes we get so caught up in the Christmas season, we're just doing all the things. But then something happens towards the end of that season. And maybe some of us are already there before the season has even started. And that's that kind of moment where you feel like you're burnt out and you hit that wall and you're absolutely exhausted and your body's run down and you're not feeling good anymore. And I've realized something, even as someone who is an administrator, who plans a lot of things, who does a lot in the month of December, I've learned the power of my no. I've learned the power of going, this is what I can do, and these are the things I just can't do. Listen, you're never going to be able to meet everybody's expectation of you and go to every single party and do every single thing. And if you're already trying to do that, it's too much. Listen, you got to breathe for a second. The best gift that the Lord can give us is the power of the ability to set a limit and a boundary and sometimes to say no. And maybe you're listening to this and you're like, nah, girl, I'm a yes girl, or I'm a yes guy. Like when people ask for me, I just want to show up. I want to show people I'm there. And that's great. I have been in seasons where I was a yes girl, but I am much more of a no girl now. And let me tell you why. Because when we say yes to everything and we do it all, even though in the moment people love us, they're enjoying it, it might feel fun, over time, that stuff takes a toll on you. Over time, you emotionally and physically start to not feel as great as you used to because you can only handle so much at one time. So I want to read you this scripture. It's Matthew 5:37. It says, let your yes be yes and let your no be no. I mean, you can't really make it any more simple than that, right? This is the Lord telling you the things that you can do, give it your yes, give it your word, and do it. But the things that you can't, set a boundary, say no, and set that limit. And this is the kicker, set a limit without guilt. Like I've been in so many seasons where someone will go, hey, Kalina, I was wondering if you could come do this, or hey, I was wondering if you could come speak at this event, or hey, I was wondering if you could come to this birthday party, or if you could come to this. And I'm one of those people that I want people to know that I love them. I want to feel a part of things. I am a very social person. So I'm kind of like pre-wired to go, yeah, sure, let's do it, right? Usually like that's kind of my first thought. But as I've gotten older, I've realized I can't do all the things because I have a lot of things on my plate right now. And so if I do all those things in that moment, people will love me and they'll be so happy I came and it'll be enjoyable. But then I'm going to have to start taking other things that were on my plate off in order to make room for that. And sometimes I finish the end of the month and I go, hey, I didn't really do all the things that were priority for me. So what we're going to do in the next couple minutes is we're going to really take some kind of analysis of the end of the year, right? We're going to realize that even though God has called us to do ministry, God has called us to be the hands and feet of Jesus to people, God has called us to love people well. Come on, I've talked a lot this year on the podcast about you can't be in the cave, you got to get out, you got to do relationships, you got to invest. Like we believe in all of that. But there's something about learning to set boundaries as we're moving through this month of December that's going to help you in the long run. I don't want you to get through it. I want you to actually enjoy it. Like, have you ever planned an event or had something really big coming up and you put so much work into it and then like in one night, the whole thing's over? I'm super guilty of this. I will plan events constantly. And there's so much work that goes into planning events. But as you get closer to the event, we've all done this, but we say, oh, I kind of just want it to be over because I'm so exhausted and I just want it to be done. I want the stress to go away. I want it to be done. I want to move forward. That somehow we not only lose joy in the journey, but even when it's happening, there's this thought of like, I just want it to be over. And I've realized that sometimes that's how the enemy steals joy from us because there's so much going into process. Sometimes we forget that we actually lose the joy. And this is what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to lose your joy in December. I don't want you to get so tired and your wheels are spinning and you're so stressed and you're so overwhelmed that you get to the end of the year and you're like, I just want it to be over. I want you to enjoy this season. I want you to enjoy that this is the season we celebrate the birth of Jesus. Even though we celebrate him every day, this is the month we honor him. This is the month where when you can go to something, you spend some time with some friends and there are some cool parties and cool services and fun things we can do within our limits, right? But I don't want you to get through it and go, I just wish it was over. I want you to enjoy the season for what it is. So how do we do that? A couple of cute tips. I almost say cute tips, but a couple of tips. I almost sounded cute, like Q-tips, like you put in your hair. A couple of cute or cool tips. Let's call it that. The first one is this. You have to have emotional boundaries, right? There's a lot going on in December. Like statistically, mental health takes a big dive in December, November and December during the holidays. It's actually the biggest rate of people who have suicide, who go into depression, who hibernate. And I get that because this is a season where you're seeing like people doing stuff with their functional families and people out with their little couples and people enjoying things. And sometimes there becomes that I'm not there yet, or I haven't gotten that yet, or I wish I had that. And you kind of begin to look at your situation. And sometimes people really begin to kind of get in a rough space mentally. So you have to set emotional boundaries. What can you handle? Maybe you can handle one Christmas party. Maybe you can handle a little get together with smaller friends. But maybe going to all five is just too much for you. Maybe sitting in rooms with tons of people and them talking about all the things and everything that you're still maybe trusting God for, or just all the capacity that it takes to sit in a room with all these people is too much for you. And you need to just set a boundary and go, you know, I can do this, but I can't do all of those. Because this is the other thing too, is sometimes we'll just get caught up being busy because it makes us not think about the things going through our head. But the minute we get home, it's kind of like it comes back with a backlash, right? Set some boundaries. If there's people who are draining to you in this season, if there are people that are drama for you in this season, if there are certain spaces or things that you usually do during the year that take a lot of effort, maybe in December you put a little bit of a pause and you go, emotionally, I can't do all the things for Christmas and also handle that. So I'm going to just set a little limit so that I can enjoy and have peace in this season. Listen, you're the one that sets the boundary. Another one is time. Time is a huge boundary that I am so guilty of blowing myself. I'm not even going to preach to you and say that I have this one figured out. I'm still learning time, right? Time means, what does my schedule look like? Listen, there are going to be seasons when God is even going to tell you, hey, the priority this year is for you to have some peace, for you to spend some time with your family, with your kids, with whoever. And I want you to put that as the priority, even above all the other stuff that's available to you. I know there's even fun things to go to, like, you know, around in our area, there's really cool places where you can go see Christmas lights, or you can go to like special events that are for Christmas, and there's festivals and parade. Like there's always something, right? But if you're missing like even the priority of like sitting on the couch, maybe you're kind of that person that wants to just spend some time with their family this year and you feel God leaning you into that. Just sit on the couch and watch some Hallmark movies. You don't have to go to the big Christmas lights. Maybe next year you can do the Christmas lights, right? But maybe learning to set a boundary with your time, even just in what you choose to do, can allow you to have some really healthy family time. Listen, at my house, me personally, I'm not usually a big TV watcher. Like, I just have too much going on. So if I do have a few minutes to myself, it's usually late at night when I'm in bed and I'm usually just like scrolling on some kind of social media app, right? I'm not a huge television person. But I will say this, during the holidays, when we get a little window or a pocket that's, you know, there's a little break or there's a few hours in a day that's off, I love sitting on the couch and watching Christmas Hallmark movies with my family. I love it. Even my grandpa, we call him Papu because he's Greek. My Papu will come down and we will sit on the couch and we will just put on the most cheesiest Hallmark, whatever. I mean, even the Netflix ones are great, like whatever the little Christmas, movies on, and we'll just watch them. And it's not so much that the movie is the best thing ever or that we're doing all this stuff, but just being together, just laughing. Sometimes me and Papu will actually just like make fun of the characters, like that was cheesy or that would have never happened or that was so dumb. Like we enjoy it. But I've noticed during the holidays, that's something that I prioritize. Like I don't want to be so busy. And when my family's doing that, or my papu comes down to visit, because he lives out of town, if he comes down to visit, I've got so much on my calendar that everyone else is enjoying, holiday time and just spending time together. And I can't do that because I have too much going on, right? Do you see how sometimes we can miss something that maybe is simple, but it actually gives us encouragement. It gives us life, right? Find that thing in your schedule that helps your time feel valuable. Whatever that is, you like to go to breakfast. Okay, then prioritize once a week. Go to breakfast with somebody or take your family or your kids or whoever, right? Or just spend some time doing those things you want to do, but protect that time. And if someone else goes, hey, I was really hoping you could do this tomorrow and you were planning to do that breakfast, you got to say no. Hey, I'm so sorry. I've already planned this and I've already got it on my schedule, but maybe next time. And don't feel guilty about it. Don't feel like you have to do everything for everyone. Listen, sometimes the best gift God has given you is to set your own boundaries and your own limits. Here's another one. I think that we get really stretched thin. So some of us will say this, I have a high capacity, and I'm the first girl to say that, right? I'm a very high functioning person. I can do 10 million things at once and I can still feel solid. But if we're honest, no matter how much we're capable of, we get stretched thin over time, which means we get wearing down emotionally, physically, probably even spiritually sometimes because we're just so busy. And when we get really like on that thin space, it causes us to kind of react to things maybe that we wouldn't normally. It gets us more grouchy. It makes us not respond as graceful. It makes us more irritable. Come on, how many times has it been holidays and somebody in your house is just like on edge and you're like, what's going on? It's because we get stretched thin. So even though we're doing all the things and we're technically functional, we've been stretched so thin that anything that happens that's not right, we kind of like go off the hinge. Listen, think about this for a minute in the Bible. Even when Jesus would go, like he fed the 10,000, he is walking around with the disciples, he's preaching everywhere, there's people everywhere, people are touching him, he's preaching, it's ministry, all this stuff, right? Over and over again in scripture, it says Jesus withdrew himself from the crowd and went away. Which means even he knew, hey, I got to protect my time sometimes. Like I can do all this stuff, but then at some point I got to pull away and just like reset and refresh and like get myself in a good space, right? And I think when I look at that, I forget that even Jesus valued rest. Jesus valued time for yourself. Jesus valued taking a moment. Come on, some of us just need to like literally take a day off. I'm preaching myself for a minute here, right? Take a day off. Maybe just plan something fun that you want to do for yourself. Spend some time with the Lord and just not have a big schedule for the day and just see how much better of a person and how much better your well-being would be versus the constant comment of, I don't have time for that. I can't do that. I know there's too much going on, right? We get stretched so thin, and I have to remember, hey, even Jesus said, hey, I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to breathe. And it made him a better human being on this earth when he came down by taking those moments to rest. So if Jesus took a nap, if Jesus rested, if Jesus pulled away from the crowd, so should you. If Jesus needed to pull away from everybody for a minute and protect his time and set limits, so should you. If Jesus had boundaries, even with his disciples, aka even the people you roll with, even your besties, even the people in your circles, if he had to have space too sometimes, so should you. Why? Because he knew what he needed to keep doing what he needed to do. And sometimes we miss that. We just keep going because we think it's the season and it's just what we do. But I don't want you to hit a wall and then be so done. Listen, I want to kind of just say this even like in a quote way. A healthy soul knows how to say no. Like a healthy soul, like my mind, my will, and my emotions. A healthy person that has a healthy soul knows how to say no. And I know that because I had been the yes girl for so many years. And so I know what it feels like to run into the wall. But now that I'm healthy, I know how to say no, even sometimes to myself, even sometimes to go, hey, you know what? This is that day off and we could go do this and this and this. And I'll feel that instinct going, no, you just need to rest and chill today. Your body needs a break. Like sometimes I got to tell myself no, like, no, that's too much, Clean, right? But I've learned this, that if I want to be a healthy soul, I have to learn how to say no sometimes. Listen, when I went through my biggest season of anxiety and panic attacks and all this stuff, I was still doing all of the ministry stuff. At that point, I think earlier stages, nobody really knew other than my immediate family. I was still pastoring, I was still preaching, I was still leading worship, I was doing all the things. But then after a while, I realized because I was going through so much emotionally, I had some major things that I needed to process, even from childhood and just, I was a really young 19-year-old who kind of had to step into a lot of places to cover for things in my family and help take care and move into the church and ministry to cover some things. So there was a season that I think I just did what I needed to do to be a big girl. But then looking back, there were some things I needed to deal with and even process how I felt during those seasons because there was no time then to do that later on in my life. And so I started having all these feelings and frustrations and things I realized I needed to process and talk about and deal with. And so I'm having all these issues. I'm doing all the ministry stuff. Everybody sees me as like, ta-da, here's Kalina. But I've hit this wall so hard that I'm like, okay, my body is not doing okay now. So I'm having like meltdowns at home and not feeling great. And I'm going to therapy and I'm trying to figure things out. And I remember there was a season I sat at we had like a little kitchen island in our house. I sat at the kitchen island and I remember telling my parents, listen, I know that I am the person who can usually do all the things. Like I'm the one that shows up. I can be the pillar. I can be the rock for everybody else. I can handle all the stuff. I can do the dogs and the ministry and the house and myself and like I can do all of it. But in this season, I can't. Like I don't even know how to explain it. But like I remember telling my dad, like, I don't think I want to preach right now. I don't think that I want to do this and this anymore. I think I just need a break. And it's interesting. They could have went either way. My parents could have sat there and went, nah, come on, we got to have faith and we just got to press through. And, when the times get tough, we just trust God and we keep going. But that's not what they said. First of all, they said, hey, we hear you and we are so proud of you for being honest to where you're at. We don't know what you're going through or what your limits are unless you tell us. Like, thank you for telling us. Second of all, if you feel like you're hitting a wall, let's just pull you off some stuff and take a break. And I remember even specifically, like my dad saying, I got you. I'll cover for preaching. We'll pull some other people in. I got this. I even remember my mom saying things like, because there was even like at that time some drama going on with my dogs. I remember her saying, hey, it's okay. I got you. I'm going to help you figure out things with the dogs. We're going to work through this. I got you. And they specifically started to tell me how they were going to step in to help so that I could take a break and step back. And I remember that was a really awkward feeling because I'm always usually the person who's doing the stuff and fixing it for other people. But in that moment, I realized I voiced, hey, in order to be healthy, I gotta say no to some stuff. And I didn't have people who tried to over spiritualize or push me to keep going or push me to just handle it. They knew by the grace of God that it was time for me to just put a pause. Listen, how many times do we see that even in life and in ministry or even in your family? Somebody tells you, hey, I'm in a rough spot or I'm going through something. Well, I completely agree. We don't just let people check out and disappear and like, who cares? And you do you for 2 years and let me know when you're back. Like, yes, we need to keep encouraging people to trust the Lord and to keep moving forward. But there has to be space to rest. There has to be space to take a break and take some time off. Could you imagine what would have happened if they pushed me to go, no, you're fine. Keep going. Keep grinding. You've always been that person. Just do it. Come on, just trust God. That's how people over spiritualize. You're going to be okay. God's going to see you through this. Instead of going, hey, at the end of the day, God's got you and we're here for you, but let's pull back and give you some time to really like get in a good space where you're ready to go. If they hadn't done that, I wouldn't be in a healthy space where I am today. If I hadn't taken the break, I would have, out of just being that yes girl, would have kept pushing to just try to make everybody happy and doing all the stuff. And I probably would have burnt out so hard, I would have given up on half the things that I'm doing now. But because somebody had the grace to go, she's letting us know that she needs a limit. She's setting a boundary and saying no. How can we show up and respect that? And how can we lovingly tell her, hey, God still's got you. We're still encouraging you. God's got a plan, but whatever you need right now to take a break, do it. Listen, that is a big thing that I do, even as a leader. If I know someone's struggling, I'm never going to just go, okay, well, you're not doing anything. Like, let's say someone's serving on one of my teams. If they come to me and say, hey, Clint, I'm really struggling. I'm not going to automatically disconnect them from my team because I believe you need community and you need things to connect to keep you coming, right? But I will ask questions like, okay, let me know what you feel like you're capable of. Do you feel like you could still serve here? Do you feel like maybe before it was 4 times a month and maybe now it's just 1? Hey, sometimes it's even weekly. I'll go, hey, how are we feeling this week? Are you good to do this? Are you not good to do this? I give people space to go, I still love you and I still want you to plug in, but I see you and your value is way higher than what you produce or what you do for us. So if you need space, if you need some time, if you can't do the 10 things you used to do and it's just that one thing, we'll take it. Let's just let you have a time to heal. Listen to me. We need to do that, not just in ministry, but in our families with the people around us. Come on, some of us, just for a minute, let me talk to the parents for a second. You got kids who are just wrecked emotionally. They're coming to you telling you they're not doing good and they're stressed out and they're having thoughts of hurting themselves, or they've had thoughts of not wanting to be on this earth. And your response is, let's just go to church and trust God and have faith and do it. And come on, we're going to go to all this stuff. And they're basically going, I'm like up here. There's so much going on. And instead of giving them some time to maybe take a step back, encourage them, love them, see them, keep them in a space where they can kind of heal, but also still motivate them to like not give up on everything. Like there's a better way of doing that. Instead of that, we push them harder and then they just hit the wall and like totally go off the deep end. Like even simple things like going, hey, even though we love church and we love those things, hey, if you need a minute where we just sit and we spend time as a family and we just kind of work through some things with you, you're important and you're valuable to me. It's more important that you're okay. God, this is ministry. You are my first ministry right here, my kids. Hear me again. Your first ministry is the people in your immediate family, right? So I love that you come to Wednesday night Bible study, but if you're neglecting your kids, if you're neglecting their emotions, because we don't have time to talk about that because we're going to Bible study, you've missed your first ministry, which is them, right? My parents sat at that table and went, you are valuable and you set those boundaries and we will respect them and honor them. We know that you love God. We're going to keep leading you. But listen, I don't need to push you into the ground. Let's just pull back. Let's pull away from the crowd. They also sat with me in moments when they didn't understand, and they listened and they just allowed that process to kind of make me where I kind of felt like I wasn't alone then, right? Even if they didn't get it all, I wasn't alone in it. Come on, I feel this, even for some of my parents. Your kids are going through some things and you don't understand it. You've never walked through it. You've never been in that situation. But instead of forcing them to, come on, let's just keep on keeping on, that doesn't work. How about you take a breath? How about you just pray for them? How about you check in on them more? How about you take 5 things off the schedule and you just spend some quality time doing something that they love with them? How about you figure out how to give them a space for rest so that their soul can get healthy and that you can even have more peace in your home? Listen, we all have things in our life that we got to work on, but I really feel this today, even just by the Holy Spirit. There's a season where we have to learn how to unwrap this gift that God has given us, to set a boundary and to say no sometimes, to realize that at the end of the year, I've said yes to tons of things, but in December, right? What are the priorities that God has asked you? Is it your family? Is it to finish schooling? Is it to make work a priority? Is it to whatever that thing is? If it is a relationship, like what is the thing that God has asked you to do for this month? And then set boundaries so that you can do that without feeling like you're going to hit that wall. Because at the end of the day, the enemy will use all these things as distractions, and this person and this party and this event and this thing and da-da-da. And before you know it, you get to the end of the year and you're like, I just want it to be over. And I want you to hear me for a minute. It's crazy how much the enemy does it to us at Christmas time. Why? Because it's the month that we celebrate Jesus. Why does he hit our emotions so hard in December? Because he hates that we're honoring Jesus. Because he wants to taint the celebration of the birth of Jesus. He wants you to be so upset and so frustrated and so overwhelmed and so done with it. It's a month you just want to get over with. And I'm saying, let's take the joy back in Christmas again. Let's find things that we like to do and do them, but let's also find spaces of rest. Maybe this year, your Christmas might look different. Maybe there's some things going on in your family or even in your life that are just hard right now or difficult. Pull back for a minute. I'm not saying don't stay plugged in with the Lord and your relationship and the things that you need, but I'm saying pull back and prioritize that time with your family. Figure things out. Work on the things that are important. Spend time with the people in your family that you need to right now. Listen, I think one of the things that brings God joy the most is when we kind of renegotiate and we set our boundaries back in place. I want to close with this. I heard this story the other day from this woman who had been in ministry, or she just went to church her whole life. Like her whole life she went to church. And she was saying that she was always that girl who would show up for everything, every event, every service, every prayer meeting, anything that the church did, she was there. And don't get me wrong, hear me, I'm a church girl. I'm usually at 99.9% of the events and I love them, right? But she said in this story, she said, I did so much for so long that I realized that even when I was doing the church stuff, I was neglecting my own kids and my own family and my own husband and quality time sometimes, because I wasn't just doing Sundays or just Wednesdays or just this. I felt like I had to do all of these things to make God happy with me, that I actually lost things at home and I even lost my joy in a lot of it. And then I burned out so hard, I even just took a break from church. And I thought, wow, how many times do we do that? And it may be church, it might be other things, it might be your job, it might be the things that you right now are allowing to take most of your time, but you got to evaluate sometimes, right? What are the things that I'm putting my priority in? Listen, I want you to show up and honor God, but set boundaries. Have healthy times to take a break. Have spaces where you guys are busy, but then you take a day off and you spend some time with the people that matter to you. Or maybe you're not even like have a lot of family and you're like a single person or someone who's kind of more independent. Okay, so maybe your life is busy, but you take some time to figure out some fun things that you can do with the people you do want to do some stuff with, right? You set out time for yourself, because I've heard this too, being single. And even though I have a ton of responsibility, people feel like, well, that they could show up and help. She can do it. Just ask her, right? I get asked for stuff all the time. And I've had to learn to go, hey, just because you don't see all of my responsibilities doesn't mean I don't have them. And I can't do all of your things because I need to set some priorities for my things too, right? But find the things that God is asking you to do. Because even in like that story of that lady, she got so burnt out at some point, she wasn't even showing up at church anymore. But she could have just went, hey, I can show up for these things. These are things I should do. These are the services I should be at. But on some of these, I can't do this all the time. And I can't show up every day. And I can't be the main volunteer all the time because I need to take care of my kids and my family and my husband. I need to prioritize even the things here. Listen, I think God is wanting to bring things to like a balanced space where we love him and we honor him and we serve him, but we also have a healthy way of doing that. So that's my encouragement for you today. I want you to unwrap the gift of boundaries. I want you to learn this season how to say no. Practice. Ready? Say it with me. Ready? No. Some of you went, no. I want you to learn how to say no. And I want you to find things that are healthy for you in your yeses, but also let your yeses be yes and your no be no. All right, that's my encouragement for you today. I love you all so much. I can't wait to talk to you next week, hear about some of the things. Lord's going to let me feel it. I just want to feel that some of you are going to put your foot down and say no to some things so that we can have a healthy season. And I'm looking forward to all that God is doing. Really quickly, don't forget, if you do not follow me on socials, I would love for you to. I am on Facebook, I am on TikTok, I am on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube. So if you would like to friend me or subscribe, I would love for you to be able to just have more ways to hear content during the week. But if you are just here on Break the Box podcast, I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you next week.